No, they can keep going up to the tree.
And then the mini drift. Oh, there we go.
Well, they're delivering gravel to the island using sort of a sprayer mechanism that sprayed it with conveyor belts up onto the top.
People here who are tied up blocking access to the dock are subject to a charge of criminal mischief if you continue to do so when this vessel comes in to drop off workers. Do you understand?
We've all untied. And
Just landing now.
the violation of the alteration permit has been duly documented. It's been sent to the archaeology branch.
I mean, we're in the awkward position. I mean, there was
I know, but if you refer it to the
years ago that the site was disturbed. And of course, we are dependent on ARC branch. It's one of the very few cases where we don't do our own investigation.
I know, and that's the problem.
We don't have the expertise. We are dependent on a level of government to give us the information necessary and the opinion that it merits charges. And that's never happened.
And that's the problem, because there has been violations, and they're not.
I think they've admitted that things have been. They don't call it violations so much as disturbance to this, or things have been altered or whatever.
Well, violation.
But they haven't indicated to us that that charges are warranted.
Yes, and that's the problem, because charges should.
To do that.
I know, but in this case, we're not dealing with a heritage branch that is free from political interference, and so the law is being violated, and there's been.
Possibility that we're not.
A violation is a violation. It's been documented. As if the provincial government is not following the law and they are breaking the law, then who is ultimately responsible here? It should be the RCMP. You are the ultimate arbiters and justice keepers. So you should be going to the archaeology branch and saying, at least getting a second opinion. If you are referring to the archaeology branch and the archaeology branch is not giving you adequate information or is making inadequate referrals, and that there is some doubt, and that there is an entire community, 4 levels of elected representatives are on this issue, and they're all saying there's been a violation within the Heritage Conservation Act. If First Nations want to be able to view the site and actually understand if those violations are being made or not, they've been denied access.
We're all in this together. There's a lot of social unrest in the world today, but it was the prayers of all of us, the consensus that this is Grace Point. And they've taken the Grace out of Grace Point, Grace Islet, and turned it into this Grace Point. And that's what wounds my spirit.
This is my family. So you've all become a family. Without my family, I'm nothing. That includes all of you. You know, there's Arvid Charlie. But Arvid Charlie don't stand alone wherever he goes. It's the people around him that's important. I'm just a small little part of that big wheel. So here's my family here. Today, my family has grown much larger. Yesteryear, the waterways was like our highways. And we traveled all over, mainland, Lummi, many places. We didn't take much provisions when we left home, but we gathered along the way. This was one of the areas here where many people met. You steamed those clams dry, and you took that lawn to go to the mainland, not only for your lunch, but to trade or sell on the other side of it, like in the Fraser River. So this used to be a very busy place.
In 1986, our people looked out and saw helicopters on our burial island, which is much bigger than this. We immediately occupied the island to stop any further logging and went to port. And at the end of 1986, we weren't even finished through port when the province bought the island from the logger and gave it back to us.
Shockingly, this is not an isolated issue. This is not the first time we've been confronted with the deliberate destruction of a sacred burial site that has been supported by the Clark government. We went through this with the Cessnoom issue with the Musqueam people about a year ago, and here we are again in Victoria for the same reason. The Clark government has the power to issue a stop work order and stop further desecration, but they've absolutely refused to do that. They're supporting the developer, a millionaire from Calgary, I understand. So we're here to serve notice on the Clark government that this is absolutely unacceptable, and we're not going to allow this to continue, and we'll take whatever measures are necessary to stop this project.
The Chilcotin decision, as was referenced earlier, is huge in that as well. In acknowledging wide swaths of land that have traditional use and value, and that consultation is no longer pushing a paper and sending a paper in the mail or by fax. Consultation is shared use and permission of lands and resources of First Nations. So this, for me and a lot of others, is a lot bigger than one small islet. It's an awakening of the general public and government to what's actually happening all over this province, all over this country, internationally as well. There's a declaration on the rights of Indigenous peoples, UN declaration, that our government isn't taken seriously. And that's got to change.
I don't own this property, my client owns this property. I'm not here to discuss that, that's a legal matter that's not to me. But I know that you guys can't be here, so just
You need to leave.
Grace Islet to me was a really, really important issue to get behind because I felt that this could have an influence nationally on the raising of awareness of Canadians about the inequity between how we treat settlers and how we treat First Nations. And this little islet actually was, it just encapsulated all the battles we're having all the way across Canada.
The contractor has been going to the temporary agencies in Victoria and getting more workers. So those are the ones that we want to meet this morning and explain to them the situation. We don't feel that they understand. So we want to make sure that they know what they're getting into, that they understand the First Nations concerns, that they realize that many people on Salt Spring are also very concerned about this. In fact, many people throughout the province would be appalled at the idea of building a luxury home on top of an ancient burial site.
I was just thinking about Grace Islet and what it represents and how it's a monument to the past and of another time when Salt Spring was a very different place, not a place overrun by airplanes and motor vessels that are everybody in a hurry speeding around, coming and going. A time when people had family and community and sat in nature, ate oysters on the beach that they picked, talked, caught up on things, shared.
First Nations have reburied and many people that have been found on different properties. And they're just tired of it. It's just, it's constant. There's almost daily issues of this nature. And so when it's such a clear-cut case, it's just time to say, no, we're not going to be moving people. This is their final resting place, and this is where they're meant to be. And we need to respect that.
Good morning. We just wanted to be sure you guys know that this is an information line. We're not trying to really block you. We're just wanting to ask you to stop for a second and think. Think about what you're doing and realize you could make a different choice. We realize you may feel a little bit stuck because you're lacking transportation back home, but we can offer you a ride in the rowboat to shore and a drive down to the ferry.
If people like you walk away from this job, then it's going to stop.
We wish you well on another job site.
Damn. If just one of them would listen, it would be so nice. There's a heron. That's got to be a good luck omen.
extended the fence. Last time we went right up to the fence there, and now they extended it. Just lift it straight up.
Come on up. I just want to thank the workers for understanding. I hope they understand why we're here.
This is so that Minister Steve Thompson understands the seriousness of this situation. Over the last 2.5 months, he has not understood the First Nations' deeply held cultural and spiritual beliefs around burial islets specifically and burial grounds.
All else has failed, right? In the legislature, trying to speak to the minister offline, laying charges with the RCMP. The law has been broken here. We should be clear about this. The previous permit, before it was renewed, this islet was cleared without proper monitoring by an archaeologist, by an excavator, right? The law was broken. And so the question I have for the RCMP is, where the hell are you, right? You're enforcing the law here. The law was broken back 2 years ago when this islet was cleared with an excavator. The law continues to be broken with these cairns being encased in a foundation wall and cairns being inside the foundation, contrary to the permit. Where the hell is the law?
There's a branch of government that is responsible for making a determination that a circumstance like the one you're alleging warrants charges, and they determined that it wasn't.
So it was a political decision not to enforce the law. It seems to be the only way the minister will listen is if people do this. If people walk up on the island to try and protect something that the legislation, that the government's legally responsible to protect, and they haven't done it. So they have no other options.
The Minister of Lands, Steve Thompson, has refused all along this process since construction began in early June and in the 8 years previous leading up to this. The original archaeological impact assessment mentioned that this is not a suitable location for a residence. And so from that extreme to issuing building permits is where we are today.
I know history will be on our side, and time will tell that we're on the right side of history. And it's a continuous pressure upon the province and upon everyone that, when this initiative began, we were here. And when we're successful, we will have a celebration to honor each and every one of you who helped us with this journey and who stood together to say that it's not okay, it's not right, and to call upon the Premier and the province to act. Saying, no house here, 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 no house here.
I mean, primate is down. Did you ever expect to get the news that you did today?
Yeah, I did. I felt that we would just keep at it until it happened. Yeah.
It looks like they've reached an agreement. It hasn't been purchased yet from the landowner, but yeah, I mean, writing's on the wall. What would you like to see in terms of the next steps?
Well, I would really like to see all the First Nations involved with a comprehensive plan, whether they want to do a restoration. That would be, I mean, it was absolutely pristine before the construction began, and ecologically it's a gem.
Well, we've learned that it's a sacred spot. It's not just a burial. We occasionally come across burials in Ganges and other places of ancient human remains. But this is a very special and sacred spot, and that's one of the things we've learned. And this is what needs to happen, not just here, but all over BC.
Salt Spring people, you're number one. You know, you opened your heart to us, you supported us, and there's a meaning there. That one day we'll be doing the same thing to you, supporting you. You know, it's Natsamat, you know, it's one mind of working, supporting each other. You know, we're not going to leave, and you're not going to leave, so we have to work together.